All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. I see we have several people here from the premiere, and Nux has joined us again. Good to see you, Nux. And Dee's. Yeah, you have been MIA. Your husband had hernia surgery yesterday. And so my daughter and I are taking care of him. He's good. No complications. I say a little prayer. I give you my thumbs up, kind sir. Thank you. Thank you, Dee's. Welcome to live. I get these messages now and then. Mods in chat. What does that mean? Mods in chat. Hello, Stacy. Thanks for joining us. Glad you're here. And Cindy, our storyteller, has joined us. That's awesome. So, Cindy, since you've joined us here, maybe you could share with everyone a little bit about what the experience was like telling your story, going through the process of sharing a story with Texas Pictures. GDSY. Hi, Wendy Sprayberry. Uh, thank you for your kind words. I feel very blessed to get to do this kind of work. It's near and dear to my heart to create content that that makes a difference, that helps people. Dees, tell him to stay put and rest. My hubby felt better next day, so he overdid it and busted his stitches open. Ew. Stacy, hi Cindy, thank you so much for this and for your dear son. Cindy says Glenn did a great job making it easy to share something so very difficult for me. Well, thank you, Cindy. I just listen. Maybe ask a question now and then. Sometimes ask people to quit saying but not often. And when I ask someone to quit saying it's not because of them or about the story, it's about commenters on YouTube. They will be harsh on that. Yes, Pat. Cindy did do a great job. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Stacy. He really was just an ordinary kid from an everyday family. He was well loved. He had a huge heart and personality. He is really. I don't know. Will's an ordinary kid. He's more than that. He seems like what you would want an ordinary kid to be. You know what I mean? That he had that good spirit to him. He was. It seems like just from going through the pictures and from what you guys shared in the interview, he seems like he had the good kind of spirit, good kind of heart. Hilarious and very wise. Yeah, see, I can see that. Hilarious, smart, and maybe occasionally kind of a smart ass in a way, perhaps. Yes, a good heart and a fun spirit. Cindy, what have I missed here? Cindy, I'm so sorry for the loss of your wonderful son. Too many young people are losing their lives to this garbage. I know I have a sister who will never be the same again. I'm sorry, Wendy. I don't know if you guys have figured that out, but my mother is in on the chat, which is interesting. So she says, good storyteller, and it's sad that the authorities are not more helpful and compassionate. It certainly is sad. And at Texas Pictures, we've worked with law enforcement agencies a lot, a lot. And we've met a lot of really outstanding police officers and sheriff's deputies, uh, DEA agents, law enforcement officers by some member of command staff, the chief or an assistant chief or a deputy chief or whatever. Oh, Pat, knock it off. And so the department chooses who to assign us to. And I would think that any department is going to assign some guy with a camera and a microphone to one of the good ones. Gosh, Brenda, I so appreciate when you say that. It really hits me. How come they don't have this death rate in Asia, such as China or India? Carla has joined us. Norfolk Police Department has been awful with the fentanyl cases. Yes, they have. I've heard a little bit of that. And, we travel all over. And holy cow, Norfolk Police Department specifically has been brought up enough times that it stands out to me. Going back to this question, where was that question? Why isn't it in other countries? Where'd that go? Alan Delmar. I think that ultimately the reason it's not in other countries the way it is in the United States is because of demand. The question is, why is there such a demand here? Smugglers wouldn't be bringing it in if people here weren't buying it. So that's the real question, is the demand. Finding a solution where fentanyl goes away doesn't mean anything if we don't do something about the demand. The demand is what makes it so pervasive, so saturated in the market that those not demanding it wind up encountering it. It's a mess. So, okay. So, Brad, good to see you here, Brad. Appreciate you joining us. And Carla, holy cow, certainly appreciate you joining us. You guys know Rain's mom, Carla, and Rain's grandfather, Brad. Rain's story. Yes, demand is the key. Thanks for the reply. I agree with you. There, maybe here, pay U.S. dollars is more valuable than other worldwide currency. Well, thing about the value of currency is that there's some point, something that you can get $5 for here, you would be able to get the equivalent of $5 for somewhere else. That people are getting rich in lots of countries. So there's this potential to get rich. I don't know. I'm not explaining that right. I don't think, but it's not the value of the dollar that creates the problem in the United States. It's it's that there's a demand. So Brad said that Rain's Law passed the House of Representatives 92-0. Now it goes to the Senate, where Carla will likely testify. When would that happen? Brad, when would Carla likely testify? Or Carla, when would you likely testify? Stacy said, oftentimes it appears the demand is sorry, the feed scrolled and I lost it. Is a fluke, a one-time unfortunate incident. Yes, there's a difference between the demand in general, the demand in the United States, and an individual victim of fentanyl poisoning. In in most of the stories on our channel, the victim was not deliberately seeking out fentanyl, but it was in the supply because there is a demand. It's it's just about money. So Carla will know more on Monday. Oh my gosh. I think okay. I think YouTube should have a button where I could play a commercial just so I could go get more coffee, clear my throat, whatever. Anyway, so what other questions? If I missed any questions, folks, please repeat them. There's all I have is a streaming text window here that has your messages, and sometimes I fall behind. Lila, I appreciate Glenn because he makes me feel comfortable and also, in a way, keeps me from becoming what generations have been and to keep pushing to help others. Oh, thanks, Knox. Rain was a beautiful soul. Yeah. I feel like I know the victims in these stories. I see them in the faces of people that I encounter just going to a restaurant or a grocery store. That I say, oh, look, that's Rain. That's Will. That's Joshua. That's whoever. It's weird. I see the face, and for an instant, I know that person, and then my brain catches up, and I know about someone who looks like that person. Okay, Kathleen Moran. I hope someday I have the opportunity to share my son Hayden's story. I'm not an organizer, but if I were a rich woman, I would put billboards across America with the message. So, Kathleen, where are you at? What part of the country are you in? We get around a bit, you know. Last week I was in Florida. I'll tell you all about that in a minute. it's very hard to get into doctors and counselors, and it's difficult to get prescriptions. That plays a huge part along with mental health. Yeah, mental health issues are giant. And we are we're trying to find a way to address mental health issues in something that would be constructive and interesting enough to draw an audience. And it's a little bit of a challenge. We can really there's an issue with suicide, but we can't do content about that and expect it to reach an audience of any kind of substantial scale, because that's a topic that runs into limitations. Long Island. So yeah, Kathleen, we've heard from you, right? You emailed me. Get ready. Love TPD and everyone. Uh, cool, cool. So we have a few inquiries from New York. I believe we can make that happen. We've had inquiries from Look at Nux Go, 10 Texas Pictures documentaries, memberships available to 10 other people. Look at that go. Look at that. Carrie, Patricia, 541 Hollywood, Combat Vet, Tiffany Warner, Rhonda Hall, A Day with Jay, John Condi, Vegas Jim. Uh, Nux, you're good to us, Nux. I appreciate that very much. So let me catch up here. Where was it? Yeah. So yeah, we can come to Long Island. It looks like we're going to be in Colorado in June, and we'll probably be somewhere before June too. But right now, I don't know where. So Brad's talking about the law that's in Oklahoma that is going to the state senate. The law would require 6th through 12th graders to be informed on the dangers of fentanyl. I'm not sure about the curriculum. There's probably a little bit of latitude on the curriculum because it would vary according to like the kind of curriculum you would give sixth graders might be different from the kind of curriculum you would give 10th graders. All right, so Nux, you do rock. You do rock. I appreciate this very much. I appreciate how you help the channel. Very grateful. Round two. Please come into chat, hang out with us. Education is key. Nux, Nux, you, you are so you are gold. Thank you, Kathleen. Yeah, it is. The message is important. We also have a series on our channel that's about addiction recovery, and we have a series on our channel that is about human trafficking. We soon will be publishing a story on our channel about domestic violence. Kim Cook, Sarah Lee, Forrest Friend, M. Hank, Ohio, Arm 5. I don't know what to make of that. Loverton, J. Bell was gifted a membership. Stephanie Gendling, Irene Alvarez, Cecilia Victoria Lucero. All of the work is excellent. Thank you, Stacy. Why isn't there a public information message out there like when we were kids, it's 10 o'clock and you don't know when your children are safe? Here's what I think. I think that the reason you don't see messages like that anymore is because uh, there's parents out there who give grief to broadcasters and complain that who do you think you are to tell me how to take care of my kid? Same thing happens with school administrators, I believe, that it's such a challenge to maintain a balance between all the different perspectives that exist within all the parents are that have students in a school. And so making that finding that balance and maintaining that balance, that administrators' top priority a lot of times I think is just keeping the peace. When I'm with an organization called Fentanyl Fathers, and we do presentations in schools all over the country. That's the whole mission of the organization. And there has been school districts where it's been really difficult to get into the school to make the presentations. Real resistance. They will respond with, "Well, we don't have a problem here," and which is ridiculous. But I think some of the resistance that we encounter, at least some of the time, is because there's there's parents who react when their child comes home and says, "Hey, we learned about fentanyl and drug abuse and how it can kill you. We learned about these things in school today." Some parents will react by calling up the school and asking, "So is there a drug problem at school? Do I need to take my child out of your school because you've got a drug problem? You can't get the drug problem under control without just telling the students, watch out because we can't fix it." Some parents react that way. Not saying any of you guys do. I'm pretty sure none of you guys do. I truly think some parents allow the children to run the home. I'm a Gen X, so I'm different. Okay, well, good for you, Gen X. I'm a boomer. I was born in 1962, and uh, you Gen Xers need to be really grateful for, I don't know, whatever generation comes after you. What generation comes after Gen X? Is uh, after Gen X is I don't know, the moron generation. What's the generation after Gen X? Anybody? Somebody's got to know. You people who keep bringing up, is it Gen Z? Maybe is that it? Is it Gen Z? Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. You Gen Xers ought to be really grateful to the Gen Z crowd, because the Gen Z crowd made you guys look so much better. So the alternative is to deny there's a drug problem. How's that working out for us, at least the ones that are participating here right now? That's it. Well, first, the people that are participating right now are, are yay, yuppies. The people that are participating right now are, this is preaching to the choir, but I think that they just want to maintain the peace. Eventually, Fentanyl Fathers and other organizations too, they find other ways to get into the school. Eventually they sort it out. You just have to keep going back at them. You have to get some of the parents to support the idea of getting the presentations in the schools. With some school districts, there has been uh, once you go in there with Snapchat and open up Snapchat and show them, okay, I realize you think drugs aren't here, but here's exactly where they are in the neighborhood surrounding this building. And so there's ways. Nuck says, I get a lot of flack for telling my kids I know you're going to do it, so do it here. But all my kids come to me now with stuff I don't even want to hear, but they tell me everything. I don't know. Maybe they tell you everything. Maybe. There's no way to know for sure. I don't think. But clearly, there's a way to know for sure that you have a solid, open line of communication with your kids. That is definitely a thing. Huh. So the alternative is to okay, yeah, we talked about that. Thank you, yuppies. Yeah, yuppies. The Gen Z crap, boy, they make you Gen Xers look so much better. My hubby and I battled over our kids drinking alcohol before 21. They did not. I won the battle because I was a hill. I was a hill I would die on. It was a hill I would die on if needed. That's that's a good thing. I think that there's health issues before the age of 25 because the brain is still developing and stuff like that. But beyond that, there's a maturity thing that at a young age, if people find their major source of entertainment is doing something to themselves that alters their perception of reality, then there's so many other ways of finding entertainment, good, solid, fun, adventurous, whatever entertainment that don't require a chemical that changes how you perceive things. That waiting, not going down that road at a young age, I think it's got to pay off in lots of ways. Where am I? Beautiful nugs regarding your children. Yes, definitely. Didn't mean to challenge it. I think it's wonderful. My 25-year-old told me he tried weed about a month ago. He said he will never do it again because he felt like he needed his mom because he freaked out. Uh, yeah, weed is not what weed used to be. Weed now is grown to be far more potent than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Far more potent. One one joint now is the equivalent of 6 or 7 joints in the 80s. That it's genetically modified, and so a couple of things about that. First, it's not our perspective as adults, as parents, of what weed was like when we were growing up. It's not really accurate anymore. Second thing is because of how it's grown, how it's genetically modified, that argument that some people will give that it's natural, and that doesn't really apply anymore either because It isn't natural anymore. All right, so let me catch up. Carla said, I'm a millennial born in 1983, and it's very different when I was growing up. Yeah. I was in high school in the late 70s, and and during that time, it seemed like drugs were a big problem, but it doesn't seem like what I went through in the late 70s is anywhere close to what is happening now. No, 'cause I just try my best to keep an open line of communication with no judgment because I have 6 kids that are 24 and older, and then a 13 and 11-year-old. Okay, next. Gosh, I bet there's probably a story just in that gap. So Brenda says, Brad, I agree. People in the military should be emancipated on their first day in the service. What did I miss, Brad? Me being retired military, I can die for our country at 18, but can't legally buy beer or a pack of smokes. That's right. How does that happen? How does it, when I was growing up, I struggle with the phrase when I was growing up because I feel like I'm still growing up. So to say when I was growing up kind of implies like I'm done growing up and I'm not. So, but that point, when I was in high school, the legal drinking age was 18. And also, when I was in high school, everybody wanted to get their driver's license. Everybody wanted to drive. Everybody wanted a car. Everybody wanted to get a job. Everybody wanted to get to it. Everybody wanted to attack what was coming. Career choices, college, whatever. I don't I don't see that happen in such volume anymore. There's still lots of kids out there who think that way, but there's a lot of kids who don't get a driver's license until they have to. They just figure mom or dad can drive me around and don't want to get a job. It's it seems different. Okay, sorry. So let me catch up. Girls could wait. What? Brenda? Seriously? Where's this? Girls could buy at 18, but boys had to be 21. Wow, that's harsh. Because girls have too much power as it is. Oh, did I use my outside voice for that? So let me catch up. Brad, I agreed in the military. Yeah. Okay. Our stories are sad, Kathleen Moron. Our stories are sad, but they are true, and the only way to educate the public is to put it out to the public. It's not going away as we speak. People that know better, smart, still take a chance. I can do some math for you guys in a minute. Thank you, Brad. Politicians and pork belly money is how it happened. Okay, I can see that, Brenda. 21 here in California. Girls could buy at 18. Yeah, that's crazy. Carla, kids oftentimes think they aren't taking real drugs or they don't think it will happen to them. Yeah, there's this terrible implied safety in and taking some prescription medication. That it's a brand name that it's a brand name you've maybe seen advertisements on TV about, or uh, that you trust brands. It's like Nike. Marianne, oh my God, I just watched William's story. Thank you for joining us. The storyteller, Cindy, is here in the group. I don't know if Nicola, I don't know if William's sister is with us or not. I don't think we've heard from her. But Marianne, thank you for joining us. And there you go. Please hit the thumbs up. Yes, everybody, please hit the thumbs up. I was Oklahoma late 70s through mid 80s. What are you telling me? I'm not done growing up. They're completely different things my 20-year-old didn't have to worry about my 13 and 11-year-old. Yep, for sure. There's also some misconceptions. There's a kind of there's a kind of hunger for things to worry about. This issue with fentanyl and illicit opioids in general is a serious, substantial issue. There's other things not so much, that like crime rates have been on the decline in a dramatic kind of way for over 30 years. You never hear that in the news. There's no there's no fun in reporting that. So that's uh, and it's like we want to you see people afraid to let their kids walk to school and back, and these huge lines of cars in front of middle schools and even high schools picking up their kids because they don't feel it's safe out there. They'll say things like it's not safe like when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I walked to school, but it's not safe to do that now. The opposite is true. It was more dangerous 30 years ago to walk to school than it is now. That's just a statistical fact. It is dramatically safer now than it was 30 years ago. I can Google it. I've done it before on some of these live events, but you can Google it too. Google crime trends. It's about reported crime because, holy cow, that's the only kind of information that exists is reported crime. Sometimes when I show people the statistics, they will argue, well, that's just reported crime. So what they're saying is, well, that's just the facts. In my neighborhood, it's different. And it's not. Sorry. What happened to Nancy Reagan's slogan, just say no to drugs? Like, I don't know. It's important that the topic get a lot of attention. I also kind of think that it's got to evolve. I think the kind of campaigns that were going on during Nancy Reagan's just say no stuff, I don't think that would work now. But there's other ways, but it has to evolve. So let me catch up here. Brad says meth is probably another issue not talked about enough for sure. To see some of the before and after pictures are frightening. Yeah, there is I think it's a police officer who published a book that was nothing but mugshots, and the name of the book was Faces of Meth. That was really powerful. Nook said, in my town, a middle schooler brought 30 pills of fentanyl to seventh grade. I'm not a rich person, but I choose to homeschool, and they have a tutor 3 times a week. Well, that's cool. That's great, Nux. That's a great way to take that kind of strong leadership role in the development of your child. That's wonderful. Kathleen, what are you laughing at? I don't know what you're laughing at. I just see the LOL. Meth can be bad, but not instantly deadly like fentanyl can be. That's true, but there is meth that has fentanyl in it out there. So I've been told by DEA and other law enforcement. Between fentanyl and suicide deaths, life is so scary for our kids. Yeah. Yeah, there is these weird kinds of things that kids today have to face. And it have to do with peer pressure in a whole different kind of way because of social media. And that constant public persona that I've been at hotels, for example, that while traveling, I've been at hotels where you see a couple of like college age girls come into the uh, like go to the hotel pool, shoot a few selfies, and then just go right back to the room. So I'm assuming that's for social media because I don't know what else it would have been for. But I've seen it happen more than once in more than one location. So that kind of feeling that you have to be totally engaged is just it's a hard thing to ever imagine. It's hard to ever get your head around the idea of having this social this anonymous judging crowd in your life looking at everything you do, even though you're voluntarily sharing it. You feel like you have to be. Wow, that was quite a twist. Knowing that just touching fentanyl can be deadly is scary enough. Nux, there's been a lot of people who say that isn't a thing now, and it's it doesn't get absorbed to your skin that way, but being around it, if say you open up a baggie that had fentanyl in it and it still has fentanyl residue in it, and then you rub your eyes, that that can do it. Or if you touch something that had fentanyl residue on it, and then you eat potato chips or chicken wings or whatever kind of thing whatever kind of finger food you snack on, it's so insanely dangerous, regardless. But touching, people are starting to really try to make the point that touching isn't likely to result in anything. So, right, so Marianne Hope, the 10 years of bullying was reported, Autumn commented, unaliving herself in Virginia. Kathleen, yes, Brenda, we are losing an entire generation. I agree 100%. Yeah, it's tragic. It's tragic. It's terribly tragic. D's, hi friends. Hello, D's. It seems to me like everybody on social media has a wonderful life, which we all know isn't true. Exactly. That wonderful life, that illusion of a wonderful life sets this unattainable bar. And so once you have that unattainable bar that you have in in front of you, you can never get there. And social media just keeps hammering it on and building that building that barrier, building setting that bar higher and higher. That is that's a whole new kind of peer pressure that is global. D's just popping in real quick. Been busy taking care of my hubby and hernia surgery yesterday, so I'm looking out for him. Very good. Marianne, everyone has some kind of struggle. We never know what someone else is going through, so be kind. Yes, absolutely. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. So, what other questions you guys have for me? I have a couple of questions for you guys. First, I'm gonna do a little thing. So we have been live for 48 minutes. During the 48 minutes that we have been live, 6 people have died from fentanyl. Uh, D's, my life is not wonderful. Addiction runs generations. I still have a mom in active addiction for 46 plus years. I love her from a distance because I don't know what else to do. Yes, there isn't much you can do other than reinforce to the addict that you're there for them when they want help. But it has to be their choice to get help. Uh, uh, Brad only loves Glenn. You're killing me, Brad. I was trying to go through the Rolodex of jokes in my head to figure out what to reply to that with, but uh, we are here for you, Nux. We're here for you, always here for you. What am I looking at here? This one. D says life throws us all curveballs. I'm assuming that means curveballs. Now and then it seems unfair. I understand. Yes. I love each person here, whether in addiction or not. I guess you mean whether in addiction or in recovery, uh, or not. I'm proud of you for trying. You are worthy. Everyone here is suffering from a terrible tragedy. I pray for all. Thank you, Brad. Brad is such a good guy. Such a good guy. Appreciate you being here, and everyone. I appreciate everyone being here. It really it means a lot, and I feel like that these visits that we get to do here, even though we are reaching not a big audience, but eventually these things later accumulate views over 1,000 people, and so Nux is just doling out the memberships. Thank you. Kentucky, Gira and Sheila Field, Stacy Shannon, Ice Cream Maidstone. Okay, that's a good one. That's interesting. Thank you, folks, for for being here and for becoming members. So we have a thing. We have a thing coming up. We're looking into another topic for our channel right now. Our channel is fentanyl poisoning stories, addiction recovery stories. Holy cow, Brad! A grief share class. That sounds like a great thing. That sounds like something that the people in our storyteller group would really benefit from learning more about. That seems like an awesome kind of thing. Anyway, so on our channel, we have the fentanyl poisoning series, we have an addiction recovery series, we have a human trafficking series, we're starting a domestic violence series, and we're going to be exploring. We're going to start a cannabis induced psychosis series with the help of an organization in Colorado with stories that will be very similar in terms of loss, very similar to the fentanyl series. So, does anybody here know anything about CIP, cannabis induced psychosis? Love to hear about it. Okay, let me catch up here with what we got going on here. Thank you, Nux. Yeah, Brad, I'd like to learn more about this grief share class. Da, da, da. Thank you, Nux. You're awesome. Nux is awesome. Dees, I'm so freaking proud of you. That's amazing. Yes, it is. And it was such a sad class. I almost couldn't do it. Hmm. We have. I have a friend here in Houston. She is our pastor's wife, and she's a therapist. There's a couple of videos on our channel that are of her talking about processing grief, and she's real gold for us because she's a great one that we turn to for ideas about how to help our storytellers and people in these groups with grief and uh, yeah, she's great. Da, 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 I watch your videos and am so grateful. Jira and Silas Fields. Okay, stop it, people. You're going too fast. Yeah, Dee's great job. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing Gira and Silas. And I'm probably not saying that correctly, but I'm trying. Thanks, Stacy. You're amazing, and I love you. I do. Garen Silas, I have recovered from them all. I live in Ohio, and I'm trying to kick my last habit, nicotine. You, it sounds like you have a good point of reference where it would be easy to find inspiration to make that happen. Stacy says, I love you, Dees. Thank you, Glenn. Have to run. Thank you, Marianne, for joining us. Prayers, love, and peace. Grief share is common in a lot of churches now. So, what is grief share? Is grief share just basically people giving testimonies about their grief journey, or something else? Glenn, I know it's a long way, but Alabama, I think, has a lot of CIP because it's not legal. So I think a lot of people get that. I was just in Florida, and to get to Florida, I drove through Alabama. So, Gira, thank you. Dees, thanks everyone. Gira, thank you for being here. Dees, you're awesome. CBD or CIB? CIP, cannabis induced psychosis. Pat says grief comes from a lot of sources, so you might encounter anything at one of those sessions. Interesting. Okay. Dees is the best. That's what people keep telling me. Dees is the best. So, is there any familiarity with cannabis induced psychosis? Anyone have any insight? What do you think about it as a topic for us to explore and develop content about? There's a lot of parents in Colorado who want to share their stories that involve cannabis induced psychosis. So that's a thing. Ryan Racing, Vancouver, Washington. I wasn't aware there was a Vancouver, Washington. Dave Ryan. Great topic, Glenn. Makes sense nowadays. Colorado's where weed first legalized. Yeah, Colorado is sort of famous for the weed thing now. Will you and Sherry be going to DC rally this year? It's later, right? It's not in July. It's in September or October, I think. And right now is we're not for sure, but we're likely to go to the DC rally. I think it would be cool at the DC rally to do something where maybe we have a tent set up and people can sort of share brief stories during the event. Can do brief interviews or make specific points about things that they want our audience to be aware of or more aware of. I don't know, but I feel like right now the expectation is to go, but not quite definite yet. But yeah, it seems like we could go there and shoot some stories. Brad, since Trump has become president, have any of these tragedies slowed at all? I think it's too soon to tell with any sort of facts. There's a general consensus, a feeling that yeah, things have changed a bit because the border crossings have dropped down, uh, but the issue isn't really, you know, smugglers that get caught. 87 over 87 over 87% of the smugglers who get caught and convicted are American citizens crossing the border back and forth. Over 87%. Illegal immigrants, less than 2% are found to have any fentanyl on them at all by Border Patrol. But the catch is those are just the ones that get caught. And so there's no way to have any facts about those who get away with it. My gut feeling is that yeah, we're going to see some drop in numbers, but I think the real trigger for the drop in numbers is the increase in the amount of attention that illicit fentanyl is getting now. It's getting more attention from congressional representatives and certainly from the White House and from in state legislators. More and more states are making laws that uh, that are connected to this fentanyl crisis, like the Good Samaritan laws, the laws requiring education in schools, uh, stuff like that. Let me catch up. I've been rambling here. I almost died from fentanyl 3 years ago. I feel like I'm living on borrowed time. Absolutely love all of your content. Thank you, Ryan. Glad to hear you're doing well. Uh, Almost died from fentanyl 3 years ago. Uh, I'm guessing maybe there's a lesson in that. There's a holy cow. I got to change something that comes from almost dying from whatever you're doing. I would think a wake up call. So many beautiful people are gone from this horrible drug. Yes, it is so terrible. Ryan, I'm so happy you're here. Yes, Ryan, we're very happy you're here. And I believe that D's doesn't just mean happy you're here. Okay, sorry. Father-in-law is in the hospital. Surgery thing. That's fine. Ryan, I'm so happy you're here. So fortunate, Dave. Yes, it is wonderful, Dave. I'm new to knowing behind the scenes. Can I ask what brought you to making these videos? I'm so glad you are. I do get that question a lot. Actually, while I was in Florida, we had a little bit of downtime, and I thought about just sitting down in front of the camera and answering basically that question is what makes me do these. I can give you the quick rundown is I have not lost anyone to fentanyl, and I want to keep it that way. I have no chemical addiction, but I know people who do. For me, for me, this is really living the dream. In college, I was a journalism major and I studied filmmaking. And then for over 25 years, I did a lot of industrial production work, which is great. It's really great. I have been all over the world on other people's money, sharing other people's stories. I've been to every continent on Earth except Antarctica, and that's way cool. And then once in a while, I would get to do a documentary or something. And so we did some work for the Houston Police Department, and that got us started in this world of working with law enforcement and dealing with things like impaired driving and drug abuse issues and dealing with my phone going off. So, so because of the increased work with law enforcement, by we got known for doing that, and and we also did a lot of work for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and so about 2.5 years ago, the DEA hired us to make stories like this at a fentanyl family summit that was held in Houston in November of 22. And when we started putting those stories on our YouTube channel, they drew a lot of attention. They really took off. And so we kept doing it. We have no clients, we have no sponsors, we have no grants, but the series is sustainable because of the views. And that is so awesome. I am in this spot where we are not accountable to anyone except the audience and the storyteller. That's awesome. That is raw journalism. So so that's kind of how I got there. Eventually, we'll make a video where I tell my story. Maybe I'll do a better job. So let me catch up. I cry so much watching all of these young, beautiful people gone. Yeah, these are they're powerful stories. I see Ryan, and you're doing a good thing with this youth. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Stacy. Such an incredible life to date, Glenn. Yeah, yeah, I feel very blessed to be where I'm at, and very blessed for the experiences that got me here. That every step along the way, I learned. Ryan, I am the same. I will help anybody. Yeah, you have to. If you and there was I was interviewed after we finished a documentary about a police officer killed by a drunk driver. I was interviewed by a reporter from a broadcast station in Houston, and he asked, "Why do you do this?" Because it was just something that we made because it was important. It was an important story. We had no client for that, and he asked, "Why do you do that? Do this?" And my answer was, if you have the ability and you have the resources to do something that contributes, it's kind of a sin not to. I truly believe that. Oh, I keep losing my space here. Thank you, Len, for what you're doing. Ryan, I'm the same. This, I believe, is your calling. It's so big with such an impact. Thank you. It's pure, raw, and real. Thank you, Gara. Our pastor said, I've found my calling. I just feel like I'm lucky to get to do this. That's That's really it. Brenda, do not ever say I'm just on this day. Well, that's good advice from Nux. That's profound. Good advice. I wish that I could see. Can I? Nope. Nope. No. That's just the way it is. So okay. Brad says, everybody here, please pray for Carla as she struggles every minute of the day. And it kills me to see her like this. I know her remaining kids are this every day, are seeing this every day, I'm sure. Yeah, we're all here for you, Carla. We're all here for you. I wish I could find something that I could say that would help you more. Everyone is here for you. Stacy, thanks. It feels good most days. How long have you been sober and clean? Oh, stop it. And Ryan and Brenda and all the rest. Yes, yes. Brenda, think since 96 with a relapse. I've got a good hobby to keep me clean. American muscle cars. Yeah, but not like Chrysler products, right? Mopar. So, American muscle cars, what's your idea of a muscle car? It's another one of those generational things, maybe. Like Novas and Chevy 2s and Chevelles and GTOs and Mustangs and that kind of thing. I'm thinking, okay, so Brad, Carla, and her family is on my prayer list. I was raised by parents who lost a toddler just before my birth. Growing up in her shadow was difficult. Amen. Truth, no, God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. And He equipped you, Glenn. Okay, Pat, that's a good one. I like that. I've offered many. I have offered have offed many chemicals. Nicotine was the hardest by far. Used the patch, followed the enclosed pamphlet to the T. 2000, Prince was singing Party Like It's 1999. Brenda on the baby. Dee stepped away real quick. Had to go check my hubby. Of course. Knox, yes, my feet won't hit the floor until I've talked to God. Know that He has given me the strength to make it until I climb back in bed that night. May the force be with us all. Brenda, honey, you are blessed. What am I seeing over there? Okay, sorry. And I'm pulling for you every day. 375 horsepower El Camino. All right. 375 horsepower El Camino. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so that's valid. Yeah, cool. Praying for 1966 Nova. Okay, Nux, cool. GTO, Chevy Impala, cool, cool. 66 Nova rocks. My husband built me one. Okay, right next door in the neighbor's backyard is a Nova. I think it's like a 72. 1970 Honda. 1970 Hemi Cuda. Ooh, Barracuda. Cool. Chevy Camaro, an older Chevy Camaro, like a 69. I had a friend in high school who had a 69 Camaro, rebuilt it from the ground up, had the whole engine apart on the floor of his garage. And so he's probably 63 years old now. I haven't seen him in a few years, but just a few years. Last time I saw it, he still had the car, still runs. Anyway, 79 El Camino. I've owned for 2 years. It was my mother's for 33 years. I'm the only one who's worked on it all this time. It is badass. I love getting a new person into cars. It's a good hobby. It is. Car people here. Yeah, there's some. I'm sorry, the Hemi Cuda. Yeah, that's a wicked one. And then the Charger Super B. I just thought the wing looked stupid. That's just me. So nice car people here. I used to drive a GMC Chevy short bed, short wide with a 350 in it. Yeah, okay, 350 with a 4 barrel or a 2 barrel. I was pretty sure it wasn't fuel injecting. I used to have a Ford pickup with a 302 in it, but it had a different camshaft and it had a different intake manifold and it had a different carburetor and it had headers. It was pretty cool. It was a 79 Ford F-150 Lariat and had a great time with it. And in the wheel well, you could see the headers just barely. You could just see enough of them to recognize it. Oh, that's anyway. Okay, so we've we've deviated quite a bit here. Corvette Stingray, that's cool. Vets are cool. Hemis are cool. 1938 Chevy truck. Okay, Pat, I guess you win. 62 Corvette. Uh, the Holly double pump. Yeah, I had a Holly too. 350 most. Okay, guys, we got to get back to stuff. Carla likes the Ford Pinto. Okay, remember Vegas? When I was in high school, the big thing was to put a V8 in a Vega. Anyway, okay. Lee, you can get other treatment. My husband has fibromyalgia. Do not allow them to only give you opiate options. Nux, thank you so much. I agree. I wish was aware of that before. Gremlin, that's right up there with the Pacer. Anyone in my area, I'm going to be having knee surgery. I have to help people in addiction. Yeah, 72 Vega is so fast with the 350. Well, it's just an engine and a seat. Okay, guys, enough with the cars. We gotta focus. So So I was in Florida for like a week and a half. Shot stories in Pensacola and Jacksonville and Cocoa Beach, and very uh, AMX. Oh my gosh, Brad, you're killing me. Yeah, I remember the AMX, and they made a car called a Javelin, right? Anyway, so in the course of doing the stories in Florida, I met a lot of really great people, and 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 very different. In Jacksonville, we shot using some space at Jacksonville University, and in Cocoa Beach, we shot at an office, and in Pensacola, we shot in an actual commercial production studio, and all of the places were wonderful. All of the places worked fine. I don't know if I have. I do have a. I do have a way to show you the story, but we published a graphic with all of the storytellers, and let me see if I can get to that. Do, 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 do. Come on now. Oh, that's, oh, jeez. Okay. Well, why would that not work? Okay, well, I thought I would be able to tell you. How about a green station wagon? Thanks for joining us, Pat. Carla says, "No, I don't, Dad." I can like hear you say it, Carla. I can hear you say, "No, I don't, Dad." I like that. Not into Pinos, Carla. Is that what you're saying? All right, let me just sort this out. Surely I should be able to figure this out. This is not complicated. I would just be able to go do my photos. Right, photos, my photos. I go to me first. There we are. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. Now we can do this right. Yeah, we got it. We got it. We got it. There it is. And so I'm going to come over here and I am in the scenes. So I can, huh. All right. Sorry, folks. I'm back now. Sorry to leave you waiting. I got it all set here. So pinto and cheese. Can I put my email on here? It's fine with me. Anyone in the area pull together a team to start a group of sobriety warriors. Sobriety warriors. That's a good name. Sobriety warriors, because sobriety warriors that has this uh, great little connotation of being. Well, it it sounds butch. So All right. So what I wanted to share with you guys is this image right here. This is the people that we interviewed in Florida, in Pensacola, Jacksonville, and Cocoa Beach. In all, we interviewed 32 people, and HLMDs. And so all of them, all of them were just wonderful people, and we had a few had a few surprises. One of the stories involved a murder that was I didn't know that was coming when we started the interview, and then the storyteller explained that her mother attacked her with a knife, and she fought off her mother, and then her mother left her bleeding on the floor and went in and killed her brother, which would be the mother's son. Rough story. And I didn't I didn't know it was coming when the storyteller sat down. But a good story. All right, folks, we've been here almost 90 minutes, so it's about time to wrap it up. But I want to thank you all for joining us in these what? Pintos and cheese. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. And such a nice, happy woman telling the story. Brad just likes to joke a lot. Okay. Not a Pinto car. I don't even know what that is. Okay, Carla. A Pinto. Uh, Lee Iacocca got in trouble over the Pinto. But anyway, okay. But it is going to be time to wrap it up. I wanted to remind you guys that you guys are always welcome to reach out to me. You can email me. You can uh, text me. You can find me on Facebook and reach out anytime. You can also go to our website and there's a phone number there that you can call or text, and usually I'll answer and or I'll respond. It comes to my cell phone, but anyway. So thank you all for joining us. I'm going to put up our contact information, and I will see you guys next time. Our next story premieres in probably 2 days, probably Sunday. And so hopefully we'll see you guys then. Here's our contact information. And thank you again for joining us. Please find me on Facebook and feel free to email anytime. Thanks, everybody.